All around the world, from the savannas of Africa to remote islands in the Pacific, there is a mass extinction brewing.
All right, start counting. Elephant 7.
Species are vanishing at roughly 100 times the normal rate. If current trends continue, African elephants could be extinct in as few as 20 years, and coral reefs gone soon after that. The insects that pollinate our food are in trouble, as are these plastic-filled birds. In all, biologists feared the unthinkable. 3/4 of all known species could disappear in just a couple centuries. We've never seen anything like this. In all of Earth's history, there have only been 5 mass extinction events, one of which killed the dinosaurs. Now, biologists say we are on the verge of the 6th.
Told MIT Technology Review it's at the extreme of technical know-how, but not that different from preserving a kidney, adding, it may come to the point that instead of people saying, freeze my brain, they say, hook me up and find me a body.
With the U.S. Forest Service, Renee Galliano-Popp served in a variety of capacities in the American Southwest. She was a range conservationist on the Apache Sitgraves National Forest in Arizona. Then she was a botanist at the Southwest Region Office in Albuquerque, before managing the Wildlife, Fish, and Rare Plants program on New Mexico's Lincoln National Forest. During our August 2004 interview at her home in Colorado, Galliano-Popp spoke about predator control that is carried out by the federal government for the benefit of public lands ranchers.
I'll tell you what hurts wildlife from the grazing industry is animal damage control. The predator control is done for the ranching industry. That is what affects wildlife on a big scale, especially some of the canids, the foxes. Coyotes I'm not so worried about. But you know what's interesting about that? In my understanding, the ranchers double dip. Number one, they get lower grazing fees on public lands because they have to tolerate predators. They don't tolerate predators. They get the other agency to wipe them out. Got a lot of animal damage control going on, whether it be coyotes or lions. But that's what takes a lot of wildlife. Take 10 foxes for every coyote. And takes 10 coyotes for every calf.
The Tasmanian tiger could come back from extinction thanks to new DNA technology. Enzymes and bacteria can target and destroy DNA using the CRISPR tool, allowing them to recreate the genome of the iconic animal by following a genetic blueprint. American teams are working to resurrect the mammoth by using the same technology.
Welcome back. You know you can't live forever, but maybe your social media can. Silicon Valley startup Eterna.me aims to make realistic avatars of people to interact with their descendants in the distant future. Now, nearly 40,000 people have signed up for this service since it launched 2 years ago, and now they're using a new strategy, creating artificially intelligent systems by integrating them with social media. Let me welcome theoretical physicist and famed futurist. It's Dr. Michio Kaku. Welcome back.
Glad to be on.
So what it does is it takes your digital footprint right. over a number of years and all the ways you interact with various social media.
That's right.
Over a number of years and decades, stores all of that into some sort of an AI component, and then your loved ones, when you pass, can ask questions, and apparently your consciousness can answer them. That seems so futuristic.
Yale researchers have reanimated decapitated brains of pigs, keeping them active for up to 36 hours. The advancement was announced during a meeting at the National Institute of Health. Steve Human of the Broad Institute told MIT Technology Review it's at the extreme of technical know-how, but not that different from preserving a kidney, adding, it may come to the point that instead of people saying, freeze my brain, they say, hook me up and find me a body. Yale neuroscientist Nanad Sistan said they restored circulations to the pig brains using a system of pumps, heaters, and artificial blood. He believes the process would likely work on any species and could be used to test experimental cancer and Alzheimer's medications too dangerous to use on living patients. But it all raises ethical questions about restoring consciousness after death.
The 8-month-long round-the-world race has reached the finish line, and with it, an end to the most comprehensive research yet on how much plastic is in the world's oceans. Samples collected throughout the 45,000-mile journey by the yacht Turn the Tide on Plastic are still being analysed. But they've revealed traces of microplastic almost everywhere, including some of the most remote parts of the planet. The Portuguese Mercuri Foundation, like Sky Ocean Rescue, one of the sponsors of the mission, says the findings are devastating.
It will be catastrophic, not now, but in the third generation. Each time more we have diseases, new diseases from new contaminants. We are having more cancer, more allergic diseases, more infertility. We are less fertile than our grandfathers.
Yeah, well, you know, digital immortality is going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry in the future.
Yeah.
Death and taxes. Why does death have to be a constant of life? Think about it. We're going to have a library of souls. You go to the library and you'll talk to Winston Churchill. I'll talk to Albert Einstein.
Is that who you'd like to talk to most?
That's right. A holographic image of Einstein will come out with all his quirks, memories, personality, and you'll chat with him.
Is there enough of him to create one of these?
Unfortunately not, but maybe there's enough of you so that your grandkids will go to the library and have a great conversation with you 100 years from now.
Now, it's interesting because you have talked about Connectome, which is it will sort of pick up where the human genome left off. What is that exactly?
That's right. The next step beyond this, getting your digital footprint, is to map the entire human brain. $1 billion has already been allocated by the European Union and the United States government to map all the neurons of the brain containing all your memories, your personality quirks, your sensations, emotions, everything.
The woolly mammoth only died out 3,000 years ago. There were woolly mammoths when there were people building pyramids. And so woolly mammoth DNA we actually have.
Where do we get it?
From the Arctic. It's coming up out of the ice. These perfectly preserved woolly mammoths, their tusks are worth $250,000 a tusk.
Wait a minute. It was warmer back then, even though there were no SUVs?
The Ice Age was ending. The Ice Age was ending.
I think you got your facts wrong here.
Right.
So they were actually in a warmer place and then were frozen? So this has happened before this war.
There have been multiple changes in the environment over time. It's true.
From
it's
what?
true. From woolly mammoth cars. You saw the Flintstones.
Yeah,
they were driving cars.
I did. Big side of ribs.
Right. It knocks the car over. Yeah. So the woolly mammoths are coming up out of the ice. Scientists are taking the material, they sequence the DNA, and they're placing it into Asian elephant embryos. So an Asian elephant gives birth to a woolly mammoth. That's the Woolly Mammoth Project. Going on at Harvard, it's Dr. George Church, who is basically the Einstein of our times.
There's reasons to do this, Ben, right?
Yes.
It's not just for fun.
It's to save the world. And so the permafrost is this giant ticking time bomb. It's this frozen permafrost that covers the ring of the world, and it contains within it more carbon dioxide than if we burned all the forests on Earth 3 times. And it turns out...
methane, too, right?
Methane, horrible stuff.
Which is worse than...
And it turns out that if you can repopulate the tundra with large herbivores like woolly mammoths, these Russian scientists have proven this, they knock down trees, they push up the snow, they actually make the permafrost colder. It can make it as much as 15 degrees colder. So the goal is to release a herd of woolly mammoths across the Siberian tundra.
Right,
I mean, it sounds insane.
Are you saying that plastic is killing the human race?
Yes, it's killing human race, but slowly. We don't realize how many chemicals we have in the world that could interfere with us.
You're just scaremongering, aren't you?
The way you use plastic, and this is so convenient for modern life, we are not going to change if you are not scary.
Other scientists are more measured in their conclusions, but share the same concerns, because microplastic is consumed by shellfish, which are then eaten by humans.
We actually don't know the extent of the risk at the moment, but I think we can say with some certainty that if we don't both understand the problem, understand the scientific challenges, there will come a point where there'll be so much plastic in the ocean that we will be facing hazards that could be endangering human life.
The crew have conducted the research while at the same time battling treacherous seas in a highly competitive race. Having endured such dangerous conditions, they hope the findings will indeed turn the tide on plastic.
procedure, but basically you can take the DNA from a closely related living species, and then you can make all the edits that you see, all the differences that you can see from a thylacine genome, and then put them into that living marsupial species genome.
It sounds like Jurassic Park. How successful do you think this could be?
Yeah, it's actually exactly the same technology that they describe in Jurassic Park. It's just, rather than it being science fiction, which it was back when that book was written, it's now actually becoming science fact. And so the teams in America are making a huge amount of headway with this, with the mammoth genome. So they're making edits on the Asian elephant genome and putting all the mammoth genes into that particular DNA. And it seems like within a few years they think that you'll be able to see some sort of elephant-mammoth hybrid animal being born and actually coming to actually a live animal.
So what could be next?
Well, I think, you can apply this to all sorts of different species then, which is really interesting. So things like the thylacine is a great candidate. It's a recent extinction event. The habitat for it still exists in Tasmania, so it's something that you could potentially put back into the wild. I think the big question is what these animals will actually look like when they're made, because they are this combination of DNA from a living species as well as that from the extinct species. So we're still not sure exactly what they're going to look like, and I guess that remains to be seen.
And could they actually then breed?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the ultimate goal of this, is you would produce live, viable specimens that you could release into the wild and potentially repopulate those particular species.
Actually sounds kind of interesting.
No, now I'm back. I think the premise of Jurassic Park is probably more likely than, than any of this.
An amusement park would be more fun, but this is a real good reason to do it.
Yeah, in someone's view. Okay, well, that's a different subject we'll get on. So how many genes do you need?
Well, the Harvard lab is trying to go for 23 genes.
And that would do it.
The shaggy red hair that you think of a woolly mammoth, the big tusks, the ability to live in the cold, because elephants don't really live in the cold, and things like that. Right now, in existence in Boston, there are 3 prehistoric woolly mammoth genes alive in Asian elephant cells. So it's kind of a wild fact that, a few miles from where I live, there is living woolly mammoth right now. So we're very close.
The genes are being expressed.
Yes, they're living in organoids and
genes don't really live. But
right.
I see what you're saying.
Yes,
anyway,
the cells are alive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends. I mean, with definition of life.
Right.
But the point is that
you can
we
make
can do this.
Now.
The science is all there. Yeah. So it's just a matter of placing it into the Asian embryo and having an Asian elephant give birth to it.
So do you think memories are physically stored somewhere?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're stored on the cortex, the surface of the brain, meaning that one day you'll have a disc that has all your consciousness on it, and you'll be able to perhaps put it into a robot or whatever, and you'll be immortal. Even if your physical body decays, your consciousness, your memories, your personality quirks will live forever. So, digital immortality.
Yeah, so immortal consciousness is sort of the ultimate narcissism.
That's right. I mean, why not live forever? I mean, why do we have to die, right?
Because some people are boring, and some people are bad, and maybe we don't want them to live forever.